Would you believe me if I told you that the first flavor that was ever found was by a fish? Yes, this flavor was sour. A research done by a team of biologists in 2022 say that around 500 million years ago, an ancient fish changed its path while swimming because it sensed a predator. Not by its visuals, but it tasted the danger. How? By a rise in the acidity of the sea level. The acidity level increased tremendously that the fish couldn't stay there any longer, alerting it of its danger. Now, cooking is not one of my strongest talents. I love to cook, don't get me wrong, but I'm sure most of us had at least one kitchen flop. I have definitely had my fair share of them. When I was 6 years old, I had to make a drink for my family. It wasn't any of those fancy drinks. It was one of those powdered mixes. Was it really easy to make? Yes. But did I fail in making it? Also, yes. It was really simple. All I had to do was mix the artificial powder with water and sugar. It wasn't till I made a whole big batch that I realized I didn't use sugar, I used salt. Now, this incident got me wondering, how can something which looks so alike in appearance make such a big difference in taste? Now, this was my sensory evaluation. Sensory evaluation is a scientific method used to measure and interpret reactions to different food characteristics through the 5 senses: touch, taste, sight, smell, and hearing. The smell of vanilla can enhance a sense of sweetness, while the smell of mint can provide a cooling sensation. In a research done by Cell Reports in 2022, explored how the sound of food can enhance our perception of freshness and quality. Additionally, in a report done by American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, published findings that the scent of food can stimulate our appetite. Scents like cinnamon or freshly baked bread can activate our brain areas associated with hunger, making us crave for these flavors and influencing our preferences and choices. Imagine our world with no flavor. Could you picture it? The basic flavors we rely on to make our most beloved dishes, salty, sweet, spicy, bitter, and umami, would be missing. I mean, could you imagine? Coffee without its key element, bitterness. Citrus fruits without its sourness. I mean, think about how this would make you feel. How could you savor your favorite comfort foods without the familiar burst of flavors? The joy, the comforting experience would just evaporate. Food plays a significant role in our emotional and physical well-being. So, with an imbalance of flavors, we wouldn't just lose our pleasure in eating, but we would also face health concerns. In a study done by Spence et al. In 2016, explored that with an imbalance of flavor, it would trigger emotional distress. For example, overly salty food can lead to excessive thirst or an unpleasant aftertaste, while overly sweet food can lead to a crash in our blood sugar levels. So how do we solve this dilemma of imbalance and restore the joy in our food? Well, the answer lies in mastering the balancing of flavors. And how do we do that? Through a simple yet a powerful tool, a flavor wheel. This wheel is a guide to learn how to balance and enhance each flavor. Bitterness isn't a popular flavor. It isn't anyone's preferred choice. But it's a pivotal flavor for balancing. What if your food has too much bitterness? Well, it can be balanced out by salty, sweet, or umami. If the heat is too overwhelming, if it's too spicy, well, a dash of sugar can dial it down. Saltiness is usually a flavor that enhances all the other flavors. But what if there's too much salt in your food? Well, bitterness would balance it out, and sourness could enhance it. And could you imagine sweetness with no balance? I mean, bitterness would be crucial to balance it out. Research done in Dando in 2013 says that by adding a small amount of salt, it can increase the perception of sweetness and umami, while also reducing the bitterness in certain vegetables, making them a little bit more enjoyable for us to eat. When it comes to food science, researchers like Charles Spence or Picaris Fisman say that innovation in flavor pairing can lead to unique dining experiences, and that when chefs create new combinations, they often combine their traditional culinary knowledge with scientific insights into how flavors react, often creating new flavor profiles we didn't even know existed. Experimental chefs like Farron Agia say that the pursuit of new flavor experiences is driven by trial and error, and that the idea of creating a new flavor is more about exploration than following a simple formula. So balancing of flavors isn't just following a simple formula. It's more about creativity and experimentation. So the next time you make a simple meal or a complex dish, think about the balance of flavors as your secret ingredient for success. Thank you.